Okay, just a few days away from our Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, and it will be 84. And of course, we've had these string of little ideas to 84, with Sally Kirkland being one of them, and started by a guy called Bob Trumpy, who was actually 80, but famous for the 84 jumper. Now we have Steve Cropper from Booker T. Booker T indeed, eh, folks? And the MGs, which could be three Gs, three sevens. Notice here we have the ring and that little light in the background, quite interesting in the photo they put up of him. Something's going on here with the three mountains idea over here, Nashville, Tennessee. And famous for, of course, these songs, Green Onion, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, and In the Midnight Hour, interesting enough, and Knock on Wood too is another one of his. So quite a prolific artist of the 60s, and of course in the Blues Brothers with our friends the Belushi and Aykroyd. And then he's the Soul Man too. Soul Man is another song attached to him. And he's the Soulsville Foundation here. Yeah, soul music in Memphis. So we've got the Elvis connection. The Dock of the Bay, San Francisco. So we have that idea with the San Francisco. So certainly another interesting person go down 84. Of course, we've got Bob Dylan at 84 and we've got Joe Biden. So one of them could be on the list of the 84. Interesting talking about the Zippo, the PP in Zippo. Yes, the cover of Soul Man. And he was involved in the original, of course. And you can see the stripes. Very interesting looking guitar here, the Tiger guitar. I love the Tiger. And the 39 like the 93 here, funny enough. The secret ingredient. Secret ingredient. Krishna loved this idea, the secret ingredients. The greatest rock and soul. All about soul. And he played the Colonel. And of course, in real life, he toured with them. So, yes, it's another thing in the Matrix here. The 84 been big lately and continues to be, and I don't think we've seen the end of this 84 business. Of course, reminds us of George Orwell, who Trump clearly referenced when he was talking to Charles. And as we know, if you followed me, George Orwell wrote that book in the Hebrides on the Isle of Lewis, where Trump is allegedly from. Yes, and the last couple of weeks I've been doing quite a deep dive into the Scottish clan ideas and to Clan MacLeod. I've looked at this stuff before, so it was good to have a revise on it, and I found things I hadn't seen before. There's actually quite a lot of videos about MacLeod. And I just saw this one for the first time today, so I'll just play a little bit of this. And this month we'll definitely go pretty deep into Clan MacLeod, but just listen to this little bit here.
Now, the flag is covered in small red elf dots, as they're known. And in the early part of the 19th century, the flag was also marked with small crosses. But these have since disappeared. And when we say disappeared, I don't mean like they magically disappeared. There's several accounts of the flag with the crosses on them, but they believe that things were added or taken off from the flag. So at one point they had been described it, and they believed that later they were basically unpicked, and the stitching was unpicked from the flag. Now, Sir Walter Scott visited the castle on the Isle of Skye at one point, and he actually examined the flag himself, and he wrote of it as a pennon of silk with something like round red rowan berries wrought upon it, which is the elf dot. And throughout history, some have attempted to associate the flag with the Crusades or even a raven banner, which is something that is said to have been used by various Viking leaders in the British Isles. However, the flag has actually been dated by experts, and they believe that they can date it to between the 4th and 7th century. And this is, of course, several hundred years before the Crusades. You'll forgive there's a typo there. But however, its core legend stems from that of the Fae, and there are multiple versions of the lore regarding how exactly the flag came to be in the possession of the clan and what its intended purpose is.
Yes, well, a silk flag in Scotland. Yeah, showing our connection with India again. And that's what I will be looking at, the Scots and the Indians and the whole round the world thing that entails. I mean, there's things called Scottish Argentinians, which I've covered before. But many countries have, and of course Scot Jamaicans in particular, but many countries have had the Scot influence, and certainly the relationship with India and Scotland is quite interesting when you think about it. There's even MacLeod Ganja in India, so that should tell you straight up that how many places have, like India has a Scottish name like that. It just so happens to be the name of the president. And there's also a video around, and I'm going to have to do a bit of research on this, linking the German idea with the Hohenzollerns and Habsburgs, etc., from the German idea. And what I'd suggest is always there's a Scot-German thing, like Gerard Butler, but like the case of the Stuarts with the Hanovers and the alchemical wedding, which we've covered. And I saw some people talking about that and to do with Rosicrucianism, and also how Rosicrucianism was just a fake up by the Vatican, which we would suspect. So there's some interesting things to look at for this month. All right, yes, so Steve Cropper, 84. The 84 idea, and it's just like punching 84 into your head, which of course is the Orwell thing. And at the same time, they keep talking about digital IDs, but they've postponed something here in Australia, so that's something. Because who wants to give all sorts of ID out to just simply make a video on YouTube, etc., whatever they're up to. I'm not sure, but it doesn't sound good for the common man, never is. All right, thanks, folks.